Oh, hi. You've caught me shopping for seeds from the bunker. Allow me to get my stuff together here while we get to the daily space weather. All right. All right, and today we're coming at you from behind a wall of you know what, and we're looking at Stereo A's coronagraph way out there at Stereo A. And hold on a minute, I've got to fix something here. I apologize, folks. Let me just move some of this aside here. All right, just adjust this. All right. This is how life turns out when you're in a bunker. I don't want any cobwebs getting on me, Not that there would be cobwebs in a bunker or anything like that. All right. So it looks like there could be a coronal mass ejection about to happen here, folks. There's a sudden buildup, and you can see right in this area here. So I'll be actually keeping an eye on that throughout the day. And this time, the pun is entirely intentional. And I don't know if you noticed, yesterday we talked about, it was on the thumbnail. Well, by the time you're watching this video, unless you're watching it live on Twitch, you will not be able to see that video on YouTube anymore, as it will be set to private. First, let's look at the sun here at 193 angstroms before we talk about censorship and complete BS. And it looks like the wind stream from this coronal hole right here is arriving as we speak. So lots of stuff to cover, and let's get into it. First, I'm going to let that play all the way through for all of you heliospheric sightseers. That's a 48-hour video, by the way, for you new viewers. Next, we're looking at the fact that Google is a complete hack, fraud, scam, nonsense organization, and it's been demonetizing our videos, and so we've been setting them to private so that they're not buried in search. For instance, this one here, smAsho Stream Live, I don't even know what the title is, has been set to private because it's been reviewed manually and determined to be not suitable. So here's another one. That one's under review. So what we're doing here is all of the videos that get confirmed by manual review, we're setting them to private. So you can thank Google for that. You could send them an email, support@youtube.com, if you like. And so that one there is still under review. We'll leave that one alone. This one here, still under review. So if that comes back as confirmed unsuitable for advertisers, it will be scrubbed from YouTube. You can thank Google Alphabet YouTube for that. A place where they will not be scrubbed or throttled, for that matter, is on BitChute. And there you can see all of the recent videos are there, going back quite a ways, hundreds of videos, and some exclusive content. For instance, this one, COVID-19, the disease caused by coronavirus cured via hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. So if you haven't subscribed on BitChute, please subscribe on BitChute. Now, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram or not, but I just wanted to share an image with you here about which, there we go. And we got a lovely image of Nibiru yesterday. So you see right there, oh my goodness, it's Nibiru, folks, it's Nibiru. And so if you want to email Mr. MBB333 about that, just send him to instagram.com/smashomash, and he'll be able to find that lovely image on that page. Also, we are on Gab as well. as well as on Twitter. I just put up a couple of tweets for once. And we're also on Minds. If you haven't checked out Minds.com, the image section on my Minds page is pretty epic. It's Minds.com/smAsho. We blasted right through 600,000 views and just skyrocketing on there thanks to the generous contributions of tokens and so on from our viewers. You know who you are, and thanks for that massive token infusion. A couple months back, we're still not burned all the way through those, so still boosting stuff pretty much as we want to. Anyway, if you haven't checked out the images section there, again, check it out. It's pretty epic. It's got all kinds of stuff from the Smash Team GIF to other things, and let's get back to looking at solar data. Here's an image from the SDO here. This is looking at that plasma filament up in the northeast, but I believe what we have is a filament reaching out toward the Earth, right in the center of the solar disk right now, as we saw at stereo A. So that's really the relevant place to look. And let's see if we can see anything by checking out the 171 angstroms view. For some reason, I cannot click on this or resize it. What is up with that? There we go. Just wanted to download the movie. And we're going to be making a movie later today, folks, with all of the recent helioviewer.org movies. So look for that coming out later today. We're going to splice that all together and perhaps put some original music on it also. There's the 171 angstroms view, and it looks pretty dead center. I mean, you can't really see too much, but there's some filamentary activity right there, and that's always the hardest place to see it. And no sunspots. Pretty weak solar activity, really, save for the high-speed coronal hole wind stream that's arriving right now, as the density has just spiked. We'll get to it in a moment. There's 48 hours of the 304 angstroms view, and you really can't see a lot going on in the center of the disk there. But quite sure that that's where that filament is located that we were looking at on stereo A, and it's probably going to blast off today. And we'll be looking at that later to see if it's Earth-facing or not. So 10.7 centimeter radial flux down to 69, and not as low as it got a few months ago. It was all the way down to 64 there. Here's where stuff is in the local solar system. And does this look normal? All right, fine. Here's where things are now. There's where things will be in a week. And once again, more scary, spooky shapes. This is a trapezoid forming here in the solar system, and you know, there's nothing scarier than a trapezoid. It makes you want to look at those alignments and go, oh my God. No. 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 No, no. Yes. Here's a star chart. I don't know if you care, but it's 449, and we're seeing a pile up once again with Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn all rising in a tiny degree, in a tiny portion of the sky. If you've got a low horizon before sunup, get up and check it out. You are allowed to go outside, folks. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, Smash is in the bunker. Please leave a message at the beep. If I were not in the bunker, you wouldn't hear that roaring sound, which comes from an undisclosed source. There's the X-ray flux, which is pretty flatlined, and I would anticipate it's going to stay that way, at least for a while, as we don't see a lot of magnetic activity on the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. But we do see some interesting stuff with the fields that we'll get to momentarily. First, we're going to look at the real-time solar wind, which is showing us pretty uneventful stuff in the first top the top two panes there, the BTBZ and the phi angle. In the density, we just saw it spike up. And so we're expecting this to remain spiked up for a while and then drop down, and then we're expecting the speed to come up. My guess is to 435. That's my official guess. It's not going to be it's not going to be super high speed, I don't think, for various reasons, and we'll get to it in a minute. Anyway, current density 7.45 protons per cubic centimeter. Current solar wind speed 373. There's the data from ACE, and here's the most recent that we've got on the video. And again, if you're viewing it on Twitch, you're seeing it live. If not, it's less than live. And if you're viewing it on YouTube, it could vanish at any moment. Not to mention the whole channel could, of course, be deleted with absolutely no warning, recourse, or explanation. Anyway, there's the geospace magnetosphere movie showing pressure. And hey, no. Next, we're going to look at ground geospace magnetic perturbations. And right as that density spikes up there at the end, we're going to see some magnetic induction happening here. The final few frames of this one should show you a bit of activity at both poles. I definitely see some coming in there at the north, and indeed both poles. Majority of the perturbations there around the net North Pole, while the south one still looks creepy. I don't know if you're aware that the South Pole is up here somewhere, and it seems to be moving like this. It's a geomagnetic excursion, folks. Next, GOES magnetometers are continuing to look spiky, and no surprise there. We'll show you why, and we see the North Pole looking through here on the ecliptic plane field plot view. You'll see right at the end, you see some green polarity right in this region. Right there, you see a little bit of North Pole polarity shining through there. That looks like it was picked up by stereo A, or perhaps Earth-based magnetometers. This is stereo A out here, by the way. This is stereo B out here. And let's move on to the line of sight field plot. And that's likely an indication that we see some activity south of the solar equator there, out towards stereo A. We're not going to really look at it too much, as we'll have plenty of stuff to do throughout the day with coronal mass ejection probably in the process of releasing now. Relativistic electrons have chilled out. There's the current graph for that. GOES electrons have chilled out too, and these are going to stay down. We're not going to hit warning levels today, as the coronal hole wind stream appears to be arriving now. So that'll remain cratered throughout the day, probably for the next 3 to 4 days, at least 3 days. And next we'll look at the ionosphere map. And do we have anybody in chat? Nope. And chat, no. Gotta vanish once in a while, folks. You gotta vanish and look at the ionosphere for 6 hours. And there's the data. Let's just look at the latest image. Next, looking at windy.com, we see pressure maps. Serious high pressure system there, centered around Iceland. Major anticyclone happening there in the extreme North Atlantic. And there's where things will be around noon tomorrow, my time. I'm located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. And I've been a public figure since '97, folks, so I don't wear the glasses because, see, the glasses, that's an effect. It's not a mirror. You're actually seeing the screen through the glasses. Yes. How we achieve that is classified. Just kidding, folks. All right, so it looks like we saw a quake here in the center of South America. Nothing over a 6 magnitude over the past 24. We're just going to scroll up the list. Oh, it's an extreme depth quake, a 5.2 magnitude at 590 kilometers deep. I believe the deepest quake on the South American plate that we've ever reported on the channel. 5.2 magnitude, 590 kilometers. Let's check the location of that one, as it's very far inland. On the Craton, and yes, Craton Schmaton, there are fault lines that people don't know about on the planet, I would imagine, as well as ones that are known about but not considered fault lines. Anyway, there's a location of that. And if you felt that quake, please leave a comment. If you heard me talking about the quake, leave a comment. Whether you're a friend, a foe, a noob, or a pro, leave a comment. And let's get back to the list here. There's a deep quake in Tajikistan. There's a deep quake at Colombia, at the joint between South America and Central America. And lastly, coming in just recently here, a 4.4 in Afghanistan at 176 kilometers. And next we're going to talk cosmology for a very quick segment here, as there's a great article about magnetars, and a fantastic image here showing you the magnetic field lines. And now these things are believed by some folks to be rotating at insane millisecond type rotations, and we're not going to get into the mainstream versus alternative explanations of how these things behave as they do, but perhaps read the article today. It's on SciTech Daily. If you need a break from certain types of news stories that you really don't want to hear about, perhaps read about magnetars. So this one here, it does include some explanations of how they're believed to form and so on like that, as well as what they are, and some explanations. And basically what the article is saying, that they're formed by explosions. So there's a bit of a limited toolbox in cosmology, folks. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the toolbox is expanding finally to include alternative models of how stars work, what's inside of stars, how matter is exchanged between galaxies and star systems, the shape of the heliosphere, and all kinds of other interesting stuff. So yeah, welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, folks. The world's not ending. And no. So anyway, please allow a global pandemic to bring out the best in you, as it is exposing both the best and the worst. We've picked it up on smashomash.com/forum. It's an extensive repository of information. And we're not going to get in depth into it anymore, other than citing the fact that, have you checked out silver prices lately, folks? It looks like they've reached some support at $15. It has reached some support at $15 an ounce. And there's the all data chart going back to 2005 of silver. I don't know if you're aware. I just figured you may find that interesting. The volatility index. Now that's a stock picker's dream when the volatility is that high, as it's fairly easy for individual stock pickers to make a mint on that kind of volatility. Still extremely high. In fact, still much, much higher than it's ever been, dating back to 1990. Yes, volatility, folks. And there's the information on that. It's not accurate in any way, as you can't test billions of people. So let's just move on. And there's a word I won't be saying. And here's a gamer tag I'll be using. That's totally gonna happen. That's gonna be a thing. Do you play Wolfenstein Enemy Territory? It's a free game, by the way, and it doesn't require a fast computer. Perhaps check it out. One thing to beware of, folks, is beware of
graft.
And I'm not talking about putting tree branches together. I'm talking about the acquisition of gain, such as money, in dishonest or questionable ways. Yes. Yes. Also, to gain illicitly by graft, such as when the government tries to fine you for things that are completely ridiculous and made of total nonsense, causing you to start a corruption investigation against said government official. So don't try to
derogate
me, because you'll fail. If you would like to try to discredit or defame me, you will be laughed and laughed and laughed into space. Anyway, the root word here is derogatory. You've heard that term, right? Very, very famous term. Did you know that it's a verb also? So don't try to derogate people who, hey, none of that. I said none of that. Ixnay on at they. I'll pay Ivdre if the is they ugbe. Ikle they estre. Did you know volcanoes are erupting? Mount Ibu is producing a 5,200-foot ash plume. Dacono is producing a 7,000-foot ash plume. Popocatépetl, 20,000-foot ash plume. Sangay, 22,000-foot ash plume. Revenador and Sabancaya both exploding, producing a 20,000 and 24,000-foot flight level above them. Please do not attempt to pole vault either caldera, as YouTube needs the ad space on your screen because they think you're going to buy stuff, as opposed to alienate the companies that advertise. Oh, yeah. Next, looking at the jet streams here, and it's extreme meridional jet stream flow at its finest, and you can see that anticyclone over at the North Atlantic. Here's the eastern world's jets. And places like down here, which of course you're not going to be flying there most likely, but if you were, the jets are blowing the wrong way right here, as the jet streams normally go from west to east, not vice versa. Next, we'll look at the water vapor maps for the US, for Oceania and the Far East, and for Europe and Africa, shown here. It's looking pretty dry in the South Atlantic. Next, we'll look at the Far East and Oceania. Pretty dry over northern Australia. Next, we'll look at the U.S. water vapor map, as we've got an atmospheric river. Wait, let me draw that better for you. Let's see, there we go. And then this is some of the headwaters down here. And the atmospheric river is going to be heading this way. And that drawing brought to you by Alphabet, parent company of Google and YouTube. Also Motorola and like 70 other companies that it's bought. I would look at the anticyclone, but I don't want to do something that would be unsuitable for advertisers, folks. I'm very scared that YouTube is going to disallow you to see information on the internet. Anyway, there's a huge convergence of dry and moist air, as the atmospheric river is being held back and only making it a little bit into the Texas stovepipe. There's what's going on in terms of the U.S. Doppler radar. And we've got some... What do we got? We've got me vanishing. Some heavy storms over the southern Lake Michigan area. I'll bet there's lightning. I'm looking at lightningmaps.org, by the way. It's a real-time lightning map. Yes, you can forecast thunder, folks. It's true. It's true. Hey, Lansing, there's thunder rolling in. That one struck right by the airport. Impress your friends. Freak out your foes. Lots of fun for everybody. Tell every idiot so that every idiot knows. And thanks to the Smash team for all you do. Whether it's in the comments, or whether it's sharing the videos on social media, or perhaps it's being a patron. We typically give the patrons information before everybody else. And hey, patrons, don't worry. Look for additional content coming out soon, specifically just for patrons, because we've been neglecting the special features. We are also on Subscribestar, if you want to consider that. It's a different tier than Patreon. Lastly, let's look at some bonus features here. It's the local intensity gram of the yellow dwarf, and it's lacking sunspots. Here's the colorized magnetogram. Not a lot to comment on there. Let's close things out with a 131 angstroms 48-hour video to see if we can see any filaments at the end, as I'm pretty sure that there is one headed our way shortly. I think I did see some movement right here. And limb darkening is an issue, folks. I don't know if you know about limb darkening. I know there's been recent videos about it, especially in terms of the way it relates to total solar irradiance and the failures of using total solar irradiance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where that filament came from. Wasn't sure if we'd be able to see it in any of those wavelengths. Fortunately, we have the SDO, which is quite an amazing device. So we are out. Thanks for tuning in. Look for more content coming today. Probably 2 more videos, but at least 1. And possibly a gaming video. It could even be like 3 or 4 more videos. Who knows? We're not exactly sure. We are still considering various ideas. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink it. If you do, don't drive it, since it'll never be now again. Let us know what you're doing from your bunker in the comments. And may that solar wind be at your back.